Yeah. So I think this is something that I've been thinking a lot lately because I think when after graduating and I was like, I'm just gonna like be TikTok like full time and I'm just gonna like start creating stuff and do this and that. Um and 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 it's weird because I was just I had the mentality of like like whenever I had an idea, I was just gonna like do it, and then until it wasn't like finished, I wasn't gonna
Hmm.
stop, right? And
Yeah.
and once I have the idea, then it's really easy to just like focus on that until it's done. But I started like realizing that then it's really hard. I think it's all like in our heads because then I feel like sometimes I would use that as an excuse of like, oh, I don't have inspiration right now, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do anything, right? Um, and I think that's one thing that I just learned that you you just have to you have to have like a plan out day like in
Hmm.
advance. Um, a friend of mine recently told me that true freedom is when you actually have a schedule because then you're actually being responsible of all the actions that take place in your day. As if
Yeah.
you didn't have a schedule, then you're just like you're not being free. You're not true. You're not experiencing true freedom because you're just living. You're just living. You're just living life. No, let me reword that. You're just letting life take control of your freedom, something like that. Instead,
Yeah.
it and if you were to like, tomorrow I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna do this, this, and that, then that day
Hmm.
you're actually experiencing true freedom because you took you're responsible of all the actions that you're doing that day, right? And
Yeah.
and I don't know, like with the whole like what inspires me, I feel like I haven't gotten to like that point of like not being lazy. Like I still like procrastinate a lot. Um,
Hmm.
I still leave a lot of things like undone and I don't finish them. But one something that one person that I found, actually there's like two people that I really look up is and it's Kanye West and Casey Neistat. Um,
Yeah.
Kanye West, because when you look into his story, long story short, he had like a kind of almost dead experience, and after that
Hmm.
experience, he's like, like maybe tomorrow I'm gonna die, so that's why today I have to like give it all. Like, you have the mentality of I think he actually has that mentality of today I need to do everything that I have to do because tomorrow it's not for sure. So I'm just like gonna give it all into like what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's like crazy. Like I wish like I'm um recently I had like an experience that it made me realize that even if I knew like tomorrow I'm gonna die, like I think I still would be like kind of lazy. Like I wouldn't be on that level. And then
Uh-huh.
Casey Neistat, it's he also has like that mentality of uh just like you just have to work, like you just have to like give it all. And when you look at his like he really blew up because of like the daily blogs and all that. And what he says is that he finds motivation through the like what he explains it like, let's say this is like a line, right? And you're going from 0 to 100. So you're currently right here, and this is like completing whatever task you're trying to do, right? And he says that every time, like, let's say like losing weight. So every time you wake up and go to the gym, then this this line, it's moving closer and closer and closer, right? So he says that what motivates him is the fact that every time he does something, this one moves a little bit. That little bit is enough for him to like be motivated to keep on going. And that's something crazy because like going back to like the principles of stuff, there was a time that I was trying to figure out how to like brainwash myself into doing stuff. And basically you can do that through habits. So I start like, there's a book that's called Habits. And basically what the book says is that a habit is pretty much just a loop. And the loop consists on a trigger that triggers you into doing something. And after doing that something, then you get rewarded. And that's the loop. So again, when you see like the trigger, then you're gonna do something that's gonna cause you a reward. And you can see this like with alcoholics. It's basically like, oh, if let's, for example, you can say like you like drinking whenever you're sad. So whenever you're sad, that being sad would be the trigger to getting drunk. And then once you get drunk, then you're like already drunk, which is just like, oh, then I'm forgetting about all this. So the next time you're gonna feel sad, it's just like the loop goes again. And I think that's like what Casey Neistat was able to like figure out on his life, is just like the habit of that. Like, I'm gonna do something that is just, I'm gonna, like, my life, it's triggered by doing something that then is just gonna like lead me to wherever I go, and that's just enough to like motivate me. And there's like a video where he talks about this. It's like, I never struggle with motivation because just the fact of me doing like a little bit is enough to like motivate me to do like the second thing. And yeah, that's, I think that would be the answer for like those things. But I think for myself, what motivates me is just being able to having the mentality of like to do things that people find hard to do. Like, think like, if I can do, if I can see something and I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna do that, then, and I see the challenge, then that motivates me to like keep on trying until like I'm just like exhausted and I'm like, like, at least I tried, but I couldn't. But also I feel you just mentioned that like that comes like with time and growing up, and I agree with that. But lately, one of the things that I've been wanting to do is complete an Ironman triathlon. And through the process of doing that, I've realized like I bike a lot. Like my bike is right there. I and I run, and when I do those exercises, I've realized that you learn a lot about life the through the sport. And
Hmm.
like with biking or running, like the people that are listening to this, if you run or you bike or you do like one type of like those cardio or distance exercises, I think
Yeah.
it you can see that we're at the beginning. Let's say like you're gonna run a marathon, like at the beginning you just like there's 25 miles, so it's like a lot. But
Hmm.
I don't know, like once you just start like moving, um you like forget about like, you just know like you just have to keep on going. And I don't know, I think that motivates me. Like like I've been trying to see how can I apply that to my life, because there's like there's times when I'm on the bike that I'm like, why am I doing this? Like this hurts.
Uh-huh.
Like why do I even like doing this? Like it doesn't make any sense that I'm doing this.
Hmm.
Like like why am I liking this? Like it doesn't make any sense.
Uh-huh.
And I think and that's, I've been trying to see how can I get that to doing something, and just think like getting to a point where you're like, I don't even know why I'm doing this, but I'm just doing it. and
Hmm.
and that's it, you know. But yeah, like uh I would say like Kanye West, because like the mentality of living, because you don't know when you're gonna die, so you just give it all. Casey
Yeah.
Neistat, because every single thing that you do towards like your goal should be enough to motivate you to like the next step. And just like the car, like biking and running, just because I think that's like I think doing those activities is like the simplest way to picture the problem of going from 0 to 100. And then how
Uh-huh.
like each step or each like spin on the bike is just like another step closer to the goal. Like I think
Yeah.
those things or those ideologies, I um I try to apply on my life to
Oh,
accomplish my goals.
okay. Okay.
Hmm.
So recently I've been thinking about, so first of all, I like your inspirations. I love Casey Neistat.
Hmm.
I've been watching him probably 5, 6 years, like already since he was doing his blogs. And
Hmm.
he was one of the people that really inspired me to, I've had the idea of like doing videos, but just like with this podcast that I'm recording, that's one of the motivators that I had. Like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna put this on YouTube. I'm gonna edit it and start doing stuff because I was moved and I wanted to have something like he did. Like he just talked to people and really reached out. So I resonate with that with yours. Yeah, Casey Neistat is great.
Hmm.
He's a way of telling stories and way to transmitting his ideas. I was not aware of Kanye West. Like you said, that he had like a near death
Hmm.
experience, kind of.
Hmm.
I was not. I was not aware of that. And I wanted to ask you with the exercise that, do you think that you personally, do you kind of like replace physical physical activity instead of doing like emotional like growth? Because, and I asked this because I've noticed, me personally, that I'd rather
Hmm.
do something physical than just sit down and go through and like emotionally meditate, or just like write down on your journal, kind of like grow
Hmm.
emotionally. I'd rather do physically because I find it easier, because it gives you those chemical rushes, And I guess also the ideology, you put it like, oh, I accomplished something, so it gives me that rush of serotonin. I want to say.
Hmm.
So, do you think for you, like, do you rather do physical because it's easier than doing emotional growth?
Mm,
Like, what's your insight of that?
yeah, I think um, I, I would say that with the biking and the running, it gets to
Hmm.
a point where it's it's not physical, but it's just like mentally. Um, it's also mentally like it's a mental exercise because um, I feel it gets to a point where your body just like gives like you don't even feel your legs anymore, but it's
Uh
just
huh.
your mind like telling you like, oh, I need to stop and like walk a little bit, or I just want to stop, and it's just like forcing your mind, forcing yourself to have the mentality of, I'm not gonna stop, like I'm not stopping until like I'm done with this. And so I think like for me, even though I do meditate, and
Hmm.
I feel like the biking for me just helps me physically and mentally to overcome those things, because sometimes I don't even like bring my headphones with me on the bike, and I
Hmm.
ride like for 3-4 hours, and just like
Uh
sitting
huh.
there just with your thoughts, it's just I think it just also helps mentally. Like I wouldn't say I it's like easier, um but yeah, like I think with those types of exercises like running and biking, it just gets to a
Hmm.
point that besides being physical, it also helps you emotionally and mentally, because
Hmm.
like I think it gets to a point where the activity becomes more mentally than physically.
So it's just like a merge of both, basically.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
That's pretty cool. It's been a while since I've like done something like that. I've never done cycling yet, like you are doing that right now. I've done
Hmm.
running, but I cannot get to the point where I overcome that fatigue, mental fatigue of like, oh, I'm running and then my legs are killing me. The only time that I've done that is when I did swimming, and it was the
Hmm.
same thing. Like I didn't have headphones or anything, so I was just like thinking and meditating at the same time when I was doing those long swims. So I understand where you're coming from. It helps because your body's doing one thing and it's doing it
Hmm.
like on its own, and you just start thinking just to pass the time, and it really helps because it clears your mind. It's just
Hmm.
it puts you in a scenario where you're just doing one time. You don't have external, you know, our cell phones, our work, or anything. You're just there doing, trying to, in your case, cycling, trying to finish. And
Hmm.
yeah, it just sets you down and kind of like makes you go over like, okay, mentally, and it creates like resistance mentally, just under stress.
Hmm.
It keeps growing, and that's really good. So yeah,
Hmm.
because I asked this question because I wanted to know more if people go through this kind of like scenario that instead of going and struggling emotionally and kind of phasing their emotional triggers, they try to go more for a physical
Hmm.
resolution, as in to distract themselves. And once they're finished, they're like, "Oh, I overcame this, so I'm pretty good." No, like you still need to go back to your and treat your emotional
Yeah,
issues or
yeah,
triggers.
definitely.
But yeah, I wanted to know. I just wanted to know because I tend to do that. If if I don't want to like handle something, I go physically because physically I feel good. But once I go back to the same scenario that it emotionally triggered me, Like I
Mm-hmm.
noticed that I didn't do anything. They didn't help me out. But yeah, that's what I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
know. It's really if other people went through the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, yeah. And also I think that like that's I feel like if you're going through something emotional, like I think I've been depressed. Like I'm not 100% sure if I was actually depressed, where like a
uh-huh.
doctor told me like, oh, you're depressed. But I know I've
Uh-huh.
been on to the point where I'm just like so sad or unmotivated that I don't even want
Mm-hmm.
to like wake up. You know, like you just want to like sleep. You just don't want to do anything. And I think when you hit like that level, I think yeah, you just have to like do like some type of mental activity that helps
Yeah.
you overcome those type of stuff. Because like you said, like when you go into like when I do like the biking and all that, like I I remember one of the things that I used to do in college is like having like after doing a test that I knew like I did bad, or just like after doing a test, I would just like ride
Mm-hmm.
the bike, and that would help me just like forget about whatever the test was. Like just like you just did it, then just ride the bike, forget about it, come back to your house,
Yeah.
and it's like fine. But um sometimes like you do the activity and you still go back to your house and the problem's still there, right? So
Yeah.
overcoming that problem, yeah, I think that's where like meditating and just like thinking about like the problem or why is it causing you like that emotion uh, gets really handy.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Just facing and trying to do something about it is the
Yeah.
best thing to do.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I wanted to go back and talk about like trying to find what we wanted to do, like with our careers path or just generally our path within like
Wait,
outside of
I
college.
think you're lagging a little
So
bit.
I wanted to ask you.
Um,
Okay, there we go. Yeah, you were lagging too. Can you hear
okay.
me?
Yeah, now talk.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to go back to the topic of like when we were talking about our post college trying to find our career path or what we wanted to do. I wanted to ask
Hmm.
you this specifically. Do you think that the the person is made by their goals or accomplishments, or is it something different? Like are they essentially made by something else, not because of their goals or
Mm.
what they have accomplished? Like what do you think? Because I want to put context behind it. I
Hmm.
asked you this because not so long ago, we when we had the like discussion that we were, oh, we should make this a podcast before,
Hmm.
that you were talking about like what you wanted essentially to do with your life, like to say that you wanted to make an impact and that was gonna be your legacy. So, and I
Hmm.
was really interested just to say, like is that like that goal makes you as a person, or is it
Hmm.
more of your experiences rather than your actual goals?
Hmm.
I don't know if this is a really heavy question,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I think. Yeah, I think I would say the idea of the person that you wanna become, right? I think that's
yeah.
what makes you. But at the same time, like you need to like I think one thing is like wanting something, and like another thing is just like actually doing stuff to like get there. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, I would say that the idea of the person that I want to be makes me the person that I I am today. But
Mm-hmm.
in order to back that up, I need to do stuff and accomplish things in order to to justify my justify myself on being on the right path to becoming that person that I aspire to be.
Uh-huh.
I think that's how I see it. So yeah, I would say yeah, the like your ambition or like whatever you picture yourself on the future makes you, but it doesn't make you until you actually start accomplishing stuff. Because
Okay.
like you can say that you want to help people and you want to like end like starvation on the world,
Yeah.
but if you don't do anything to be to do that, then you're just living on like an idea that doesn't
Yeah.
exist, right? um
Yeah.
so yeah, I would say I would say like the 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 idea of the person that I want to be would be like the motor, or also one of the things that motivate me to
Mm-hmm.
achieve stuff, to accomplish goals. And every
Mm-hmm.
single time I finish a goal, that's like a checkpoint, or
Mm-hmm.
just a flag that I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. So basically, yeah, that the person that that you want to be like will be justified by your accomplishments.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So I hadn't thought about it like that. I well recently I've been struggling with the what idea of who I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, and I hadn't thought about it at that point. I was more of the person that I am right now is a person that I'm gonna be remembered as. Um, Not really looking into the future, kind of like really short term. Probably like let's say the 5 year, the typical 5 year. Like, oh, where do you see yourself in 5 years? But not really like in the long term. Like this is what I wanted to do, because I'm still figuring out what essentially I wanted to do, and I sat down like a couple of nights ago thinking like, okay, what do I want to be known for, or what is like what makes me me.
Hmm.
But I really I really like your how you put it, saying that the person that I want to be is the one that I want to be, like that's the person that I want to be known for, and that's what's gonna make me. But what is gonna justify that is my actions right now, or my goals,
Hmm.
or what I'm gonna do that. And yeah, I really like that. I'm gonna start thinking more in that way and trying to figure out just in some essence the type of person I want to be, because so I can have like a more structure of it. So I know what I have to do, you know,
Hmm.
to become that person.
Yeah, one thing that has helped me a lot, and something that I tell people a lot, is that uh I've I think we all struggle to say like, what do I want? Like,
Mm-hmm.
that question is really hard to answer. Like, what do I want? Like, I don't know, right? But so a way into like getting closer to that answer without answering that question is asking yourself like what I do not want, and
Oh,
like
okay.
what type of person I don't want to be, right? And then
Uh-huh.
just by not being that, then you're a little bit closer to like the type of person that you want to be. Um, so I think that's like a way that I also like see it. Is just like I don't like I don't want to. I don't want to be like I'm like I think we all have like a really good answer to like what we don't want to be, right?
Uh-huh.
And I think we can base our decisions to, it's like, oh, is this like let's say if you constantly party every weekend, right? Like
Yeah.
that is just gonna lead you to like uh to you're gonna like you're gonna be tired, like you're like after your 20s, like your body's like decaying, so
Yeah.
that's just gonna like make your body like worse. um so yeah, I think that uh that helps me a lot. Just like maybe I don't know what I want, but just like I have a good sense of what I don't want, and I just
Yeah.
don't want to work towards like that path.
Okay. So basically kind of like non-negotiables, but of like what you don't the non-negotiables are what you don't want in your like life basically. Like I do
Hmm.
not want this for sure. And
Hmm.
well, yeah, how you said not partying, or I don't want, like in this talk we want to say not be tied down to a desk 9 to 5. That's my non-negotiable. Like that's not what I want. I
Uh-huh,
want something
exactly.
else.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you actually really transitioned really smoothly to my next question, which was what has influenced you to want what you want right now? Like what have you gone through that really make you realize, okay, this is what I want?
So that's kind of funny because I also wanted to throughout like the conversation that I was thinking about this experience that I had as an intern at USAA, and it was like this activity that says that basically a person it's a person basically just it's either doing one of these three things.
Uh-huh.
It's either trying to become a master at something,
Uh-huh.
um trying to follow a purpose, or trying to find anatomy, which I think is just
Okay.
like, and apparently those are like the like one like a person usually falls into one of those three things.
Mm-hmm.
And and what was the question again? Just
That that what has influenced you to want what you want right now?
okay, yeah. And I think for me, uh I'm a person that I think I want autonomy,
Uh-huh.
and I think that's what influenced me um every single day. Like
Mm-hmm.
I just wanna like be I just wanna be free. Like I just wanna I just wanna be able to do whatever I feel like doing, and not having to worry about anything else other than doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I think how that affects me currently is like, how do I get that? Where first thing is like achieving financial freedom. Like that's like, I think that's
Yeah.
like the first step into like full autonomy is like financial freedom. So that's where I started like investing into the stock market, and then I started like trading.
Uh-huh.
And recently I kind of fucked up with the whole GameStop situation.
Yeah, you
But
told me about that.
like yes, like I lost a lot of money on that. And one of the things that I didn't want was like a 9 to 5. And for like
Yeah.
the since I graduated, which was in December, to now, um I was like doing really good at trading. Like I didn't feel the need to have a job like a 9 to 5. And I think that's like, looking back, I feel like it's because of like the autonomy. Like I wanted that. But now,
Mm-hmm.
like, because of my fuck up, I feel like now it's just like, I have to get like the financial freedom. So I'm gonna look into like a software engineer job now. And
Mm-hmm.
I just wanna um live as like, I I haven't been rich my whole life, so it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
bother me to not be rich like for another 3 to 4 years. Like just save money and then just do an investment and then just live off of that. Um,
Um,
and yeah, like I think that's like my main influence is just like true freedom on everything. Like being able
yeah.
to say like, I want to live here, and then you can live there. Like you want to try to do like an activity, and you want to be good at it, and you can
Yeah.
just afford to do that. Like there's no restrictions on whatever you want to do. Like you just can do it. I think that's like
Mm-hmm.
the main thing that influenced me, I guess.
Okay. Well, I autonomy is a thing that I believe we are not taught to do as much. On those examples that you gave me, the try to be like an expert, trying to find
Hmm.
purpose, and actually be an autonomous. I feel autonomous is like the most, the least. I want to say looked up
Hmm.
upon.
Yeah.
And I feel because they it's not okay. It is. I'm not saying that it's not safe, but it's more complicated, and it's like one of those scenarios where it's like high risk, high reward.
Hmm.
That once you do it, like you're set. And how you said, like putting in an investment, and living comfortably and doing whatever I want to do, because autonomous. Like I already have what I need to live. It's automated for you.
Hmm.
So with what you said, I want the same thing. I do want to say the same thing. I do want to be able to do whatever I want. I personally, I have different kind of goals from the traditional, engineering goals. Like I want to be like wake up one morning and be like, you know what, I want to try XYZ. Like for me,
Hmm.
one of the things that I would do want to try and actually be successful on is trying to learn and get like a pilot license.
Hmm.
Like be able to like just wake up and you know what, I'm gonna go to pilot school, I'm gonna do it, and let's see how that goes, but without
Hmm.
worrying about my actual job. So yeah, don't I look forward for what you're gonna do. Like right now with the whole stock market situation, don't even like sweat it. Everybody saw it like like it was a weird situation. It was just like, you know what? I already have like, you go buy GameStop. I was about to buy get GameStop stocks too, but like Robin Hood closed everything down. So
Yeah.
dude, it comes with the territory. There's losses and whatever, but you know what? You can find a job, and especially under the software engineering right now with
Hmm.
everything working from home, it's really good.
Yeah.
But but really I appreciate that response, because like I was not aware, like kind of like those three scenarios. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't heard about those, so those are really actually really important to look upon before you start like your career, or even like going to college, to like trying to see which route do you want to take. Do you want to really be an expert on something, or is your passion at the moment something that you want to be an expert on? Do you want to have like purpose, because that
Mm-hmm.
can guide you to like, run as a become a doctor because you have the purpose of like saving people, become an engineer because you want to help solve problems and actually help humanity, and
Mm-hmm.
autonomy because it can help as also like finding autonomy as your purpose, or like as your path in life. It can help out into, you can become an entrepreneur and just find autonomy as like create a business and have it rolling out, and do the next thing, helping you out, just keep creating more and more ideas that would help your achieve that level of autonomy. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was not aware of those. Yeah.
Yeah, and shout out to USAA for like that, because that like on the internship, like we had kind of like those like career activities, or just like going with like the other interns, and then we would have like
Yeah.
this type of activities. And I remember like that one a lot. Like they put us all, and it's just like if you had to choose between like mastering something, following like purpose, or autonomy, which one would you choose? And then like we
Yeah.
split up on like three different groups. And actually you can like, when you ask that question to someone and that person answer it, like you can totally
Yeah.
see that. Like I remember like a lot of the people who follow into like the mission, the purpose, it
Yeah.
it's people that I can see truly like, oh, I believe in this thing, and I'm just gonna like be part of it to just like keep on like um helping that purpose, right?
Yeah.
Like helping people and all that. And you also have like the people who want to be the best at something, right? Like I
Yeah.
just want to be the best engineer. I just want to be like the and it's funny that you just mentioned like how on the autonomy part, it's not really never it's it doesn't really has that exposure. And right now I was thinking like it's maybe because of like the whole storytelling part of it. Like when you think about it, like storytelling wise, like the like a bunch of animes are about like becoming the best, right?
Yeah.
And or like getting revenge, like you have like the purpose to like do something. But for the autonomy part, like what's like the the story of like someone who just like became free or is doing whatever they want, like I don't think it has like that. It's not really storytelling attractive, like.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
You're right. You're right. I hadn't thought about it like that. And well, yeah, because you're just said, and there's no, I want to say, conclusion on it. That's probably why
Mhm.
it's not attractive in a storytelling perspective. But either way, it is a way of living. Like if you're,
Mhm.
because I guess it's, for me, it will be appealing because there's no stop on what you're doing, and you can
Mhm.
continue going and going and going as much as you can. But yeah, you're right. Like as a storytelling perspective, there's no conclusion. But come on, you cannot tell me that like you wouldn't see like Elon Musk's story right now, because like if you really think about it, he's following the autonomous path. He just
Mhm.
keeps going, and he's like, and I guess you don't find the conclusion until like you are defeated or something doesn't go your way. Like
Mhm.
with him, with like how he was risking Tesla and SpaceX and I think Solar City. at some point in his career, and then all of the three actually went up in revenue before the bankruptcy, that he wasn't gonna
Mm-hmm.
be broke. Like, I think autonomous is one of, like, how I said, the high risk, high reward,
Mm-hmm.
while you keep it floating, like, while you keep going and not
Yeah.
stop until
Mm-hmm.
you're like, until you know that's like your point.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I wanted to do. You know what? I'm done. Or until times gets to you, you're at your
Mm-hmm.
end of the rope.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think that's like a really cool thing that um I'm never gonna forget. Like those three things, I think it's like really true about that. How different
Uh-huh.
people usually fall into one of those, and their life revolves around like that one thing.
Okay, yeah. I agree. That's really interesting, honestly. I'm gonna be thinking more of those kind of perspectives, because I've been struggling, yeah, trying to see what I wanted to do. So I'm gonna base my, well, my goal, essential goal, with those perspectives.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Sam, thank you so much for telling us about yourself, your process. It's honestly, there was some stuff that we've talked about before, but not whole in depth. And now it really cleared my mind on the most recent things that I've thought about. What I wanted to
Hmm.
do, how to apply. Kind of like, I'm gonna use the basis part that you told me. Kind of like figure out what I wanted to do and how I want to do it, and because
Hmm.
I really really resonated with that one. I hadn't thought about it like this, but you know what? Tell us where we can find you, your Instagram, your Twitter, everything, your TikTok.
um. Yeah. Well, I think so. I go by the name of Maui. So on my Instagram, I think it's Maui underscore TVR, something like that. I'll give you like the tag so you like input it or something. And
Yeah, don't
TikTok,
worry.
I
I'll put
think
them
it's just
down.
TikTok is just like Maui Tinevra. Um, Twitter, I think that one is actually also I think Maui Tinevra. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
if you just put like Tinevra, you're gonna find my things. But just to like wrap it, another thing that I think I didn't say on throughout the podcast, and I recently found on like that I was missing, I guess, on my process, is
Uh-huh.
just like having a plan. Um, like if you're gonna start something, you kind of need to have like a rough plan on how things are gonna play out, because I think I was I think I'm still am the type of person who's just like, oh, I'm just gonna do this, and then I'm just like
Yeah.
figure out through as the things go by. But
Uh-huh.
I think that's an easy route to then later on feeling that you're not doing any progress at all because you don't have a plan. You don't know exactly like where you're starting or where the goal is, right? um
Yeah.
so and I think and that's one thing that like my brother kind of always tells me. It's just like you need to have like a plan, because you
Hmm.
cannot you need to set yourself like deadlines to do stuff, and you have to try to like meet up those deadlines, um because otherwise like you're not gonna like push yourself to 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 accomplish those things. And it's funny because lately I've been thinking, like, with all the freedom that I had like this month, um
Yeah.
I also noticed that like what like the discipline side, like you like if you were to put yourself like it's tricky, because when you're like working and your boss tells you you have this deadline, like you have you you need to make sure like you have to accomplish whatever your task is for before
Yeah.
that deadline. Otherwise there's consequences, right? But when you're when you're not when you're your own boss, what's the consequence? Like, what's the consequence of you not meeting a deadline that you put to yourself, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's when I was looking into like discipline. It says like in order to discipline someone, there has to be punishment. So I think it's hard to punish yourself. So yeah, I think that's like one thing that I like super recently I've been thinking about is just like
Yeah.
uh you have to put yourself like deadlines, you have to have like your schedule, and yeah, like I think those were like really are like crucial like principles into like becoming someone successful.
Yeah.
And yeah, like that's about it. That's about it. Like that's like the last thing that I wanted to say is just like how important having a plan is, like just a sense of like how you think things are gonna play out, and just
Hmm.
putting yourself deadlines and actually somehow figure out a way to like meet those deadlines, like
Yeah.
if it was a real job. But besides that, like it was a pleasure being here, Roman. Like I'm super excited to be here. But like I said, this is like my first appearance on a podcast, and
Uh-huh.
I'm thankful for your invitation. Th-
Yeah, no problem.
honestly, honestly, this whole conversation helped me out just to like wrap up a lot of things that I've been thinking about,
Uh-huh.
and it just I think it's just gonna help me out throughout like the next 5 months that are coming. So thank you very much.
Hey, no problem, man. I always enjoy conversations, and yeah, no, anytime, man. Anytime you want to talk about any new process that you're going through, you're welcome.
Mhm.
You're always welcome here. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I think that like the process on overcoming emotional stuff, I think that would be like a cool one that I I I might want to do like later on, because I feel like that's something that I haven't figured out, but
Uh
that's
huh.
something that I want to figure out, and yeah, like I
Hey,
once I
man.
found the process for that, I'm gonna share it.
Oh, dude, don't worry. Yeah, we'll make something out of it, and don't worry. I'll share also my process of overcoming of emotional stuff. Yeah, because
Yeah,
I think it's needed.
yeah, for sure.
Well, all right, man. Well, thank you everybody for listening, and until the next one.